Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show today. I'm really glad you could join us. So today is a really special day because we've got a really cool guest with us, and this is the first time ever that we've had a guest like this on 2 times. Now, don't get me wrong, maybe a handful of times in 360 plus episodes, we've had another guest on a second or third time. But it was really to go over things that had changed over the years with their business or their industry. But this was very interesting because when we talked to this guest about selling on Amazon successfully, he had so many really cool things that led up to the selling on Amazon process, from getting the manufacturer source to deciding what to sell to being able to build an audience before you sell. I mean, there was all kinds of strategies that make him super successful on Amazon that most Amazon sellers don't even know about, that have filled an entire show where we weren't even able to get to the topic at hand, which is selling on Amazon. So with us today, by popular demand, is Dr. Travis Zigler. Now, he is a recovering optometrist turned e-commerce entrepreneur. He's the founder of I Love, whose mission is to heal 1 million dry eye sufferers naturally. Dr. Travis and his wife, Dr. Jenna Zigler, use the profits from I Love to fund free clinics in Jamaica and the U.S. through their charity, the I Love Cares Foundation. Now, due to the success of I Love, others have asked if Dr. Travis would help them grow their business online, and more specifically with Amazon, which is one of his superpowers. So specializing in Amazon pay-per-click, Dr. Travis's team help businesses scale their Amazon sales and help increase brand clout. Dr. Travis, thanks for coming back with us today.
Ty, thanks for having me on again.
I was just so blown away last time we talked, because we talked about so many other things about really figuring out what you want to sell and building an audience before you even get to sell. And the reason this is so brilliant, there's so many different things about it, but it's like, this is how it really works. If you're bringing the audience to Amazon, Amazon loves you for it, and they reward you with placement and all other kinds of things. So that's what I want to talk about now, is actually the selling on Amazon part. So I'm glad that you could be here to talk about what we meant to talk about the last time.
Yeah, so to quickly summarize the previous episode, you kind of did it really well. So we want to build that audience up, figure out what they want to buy, because we're serving a person and not a thing. We're not trying to sell more products. We're trying to serve a person. And then after we get that, we're going to put it up on Amazon. And then that's kind of where we left off, and we ran out of time last time.
Perfect. Now, for everybody, that is like a ridiculously unfair synopsis of what we went over. You have to go check out the last episode, because he drilled down in very specific detail exactly how to do these things and many others to even make sure you have the right product to sell and the right audience to sell to. So make sure you check out his other episode. As a matter of fact, I'm going to include a link to his previous episode in this one. So in case you find this one first, you can link back to the previous episode. So you're right. We covered those things, and then we got to the point of selling on Amazon. So let's start there. What's the first process of physically selling on Amazon? Is it to set up an Amazon seller account?
Yeah, so Amazon has a whole separate unit. So most consumers are going to Amazon.com to purchase anything on Amazon. What most people don't know that are purchasing on Amazon is over 50% of what you're buying on Amazon.com is not sold by Amazon. It's actually sold by third parties like myself. Our brand is called I Love, and you can look up our name. You can type in IEYE Love into Amazon, and you'll see all the products we sell. Amazon does not sell those for us. We sell those. We market them. We're just using Amazon as the platform. So there's a whole separate entity called Seller Central, and you can visit that at, I think it's sellercentral.amazon.com. I don't even know the address. It's just automatic in my brain. It just, like, when I type it up, it just comes up, but it's called Seller Central. And so you actually set up your business, and you should have an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp or whatever your business entity is. And you should set up your Seller Central account through your business. And then that gives you access for $40 a month to all the selling tools that is in Amazon. And so that's kind of the basic step one, is open your Seller Central account and pay the $40 a month.
Okay. Sounds simple enough. So you go to Amazon Seller Central, you get set up, a lot of other perks, a lot of benefits there. What's the key to getting a listing actually on Amazon, to getting the description, all those type of things? Does Amazon populate that for you? Or are you creating it? And if so, like, what do you find works that really pulls people in?
So that's a great question. So you can actually, some people with their Amazon sales, they actually do what's called retail arbitrage. Retail arbitrage is where I go out to a Lowe's clearance sale. I buy a hardware set from Craftsman. I then take that clearance Craftsman set and then list it up on Amazon to buy. So I buy it for $2, and I sell it for $10 online. And so that's called retail arbitrage. If you did not create the product, then the description, the bullets, the pictures, the title of the listing on Amazon should all be there for you. And so what you do is you just look up that UPC code, and then UPC meaning that little scan barcode, and then you can just list it. And some products are restricted, so you have to be very careful when you do retail arbitrage, because you don't want to buy something and try to sell it on Amazon that you can't sell because it's restricted. Either the company doesn't allow other people to sell it, or there's something going on there. Now, the route we go is we actually create our products. And so we build out the description of the product. We build out the pictures. We build out the title. We build out all that stuff for the listing of Amazon. And you have to have your own UPC code, which is done through an organization called GS1. That's like the official international organization for products. And so you don't want to buy UPC codes on like eBay or something, because they are for sale, because they're not really official. And when you register with GS1, you're registering your business to have a specific set of 100 barcodes or 1,000 barcodes. And so you want to make sure it's official, because then you can take that UPC code and take it across the US or internationally or whatever. So once you've built out your description, your titles, and that's a whole art form, that's copywriting at its finest. Images are important because you don't want to just take a picture with your cell phone. That's a good way to get started. But professional images are great, professional videos. But to get started, you just need a title, a couple photos, and then some bullets. So just like figuring out, like when you're writing copy, your titles and your bullets and your description and everything on Amazon, you want to think of the problem that your product solves versus the features of your product. I see it all the time. People focus on the features of their product. So an example of our product is let's go with our blue light blocking glasses. And so we have blue light blocking glasses. I have them right here. We're actually discontinuing them, unfortunately, so you can't buy them. But blue light blocking glasses, they block blue light. Well, that's the feature. The benefit to blocking blue light is it helps you sleep better. And then the benefit of the benefit, if you want to go even deeper, you want to sleep better, so you're stressed less. You have less disease. You have less inflammation. And so, yes, they're blue light blocking glasses feature. Benefit is they help you sleep better. And so you want to focus on benefits whenever you're writing product descriptions. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And I love talking to you because it's like talking to myself. I mean, honestly, like we think the same way. You're the only person outside of my circle I've ever seen talk about the benefit of the benefit, right?
Benefit
Which
of
is
the
very
benefit.
true. So we talked about two big things here. We talked about retail arbitrage, which is just basically you're just going in, you're doing research, you're buying something in a store cheap, and then you're selling on Amazon for a markup. The problem there, obviously, is that you're competing with anybody and everybody that's selling that exact same product.
100%.
I imagine that gets you into a price war. Margins are small. It's pretty tough to compete in that space. Help me if I'm wrong. Is that fairly accurate?
That is 100% accurate, and it's only scalable for up to you. I mean, you can hire a team to do that, but it's you're going to the store, you're buying the things, and then you're listing them and selling them and shipping them.
Right. Which seems like it can work. It may be an easier shortcut short term, but not a good long-term scalable solution.
Good
Then
way
we
to
have,
get started.
yeah,
Great
good
way
way
to
to
get
get
started.
started because you don't have to put a lot into it. You're copying
Yep.
everybody else's descriptions. You're kind of getting your foot in the door. But
Yep.
what you're saying is as you grow with the real money is in some people call it white labeling. You obviously have something different because you're not buying a product. You're actually sometimes having the product created and manufactured for you. So in your world, the longer play is to go in, look for the problem you're going to solve, build an audience around that problem, survey the audience and say, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you basically buy? What is the problem? What kind of solution will you spend money to get? Then go out and source or produce the solution in your own brand, get the actual barcodes to make it a legit product and service. And then you're hitting that you have no competition because you are the only one with that product.
100% correct. So that is what we do. So we have our audience is 60-year-old females, and we cater to the 60-year-old female. So we ask them what they use every single day. And I don't care how competitive it is on Amazon, because I've built this audience. And so with this audience, we sell to the audience. And so our latest product was a face wash. Face wash market's pretty competitive. If you haven't last checked, it's like 2 rows in Walmart. And so on Amazon, there's, thousands. But we were able to be successful with this product, and we launched it in January, and we're already selling between 40 and 50 a day because we have an audience. And we were able to sell it very quickly because we launched to them at a discount. And then if it's a good enough product, which we always focus on quality, quality is key in the market today because there's so many fish out there that you want to be the best fish in the sea. And the quality of this is so good. And we notice that because people come back to buy it again. And that's how you know you have a good product. And then it balloons rather quickly. And so that's how we got up to 40 to 50 sales a day in about 3 months.
Sure. And what a lot of people that are watching might not know is that, again, if you revert back to our previous, interview, what's happening here is that he's basically finding what the audience wants to buy, then releases the product to the audience, pushes the audience to Amazon. Amazon sees all this traffic coming into this product and buying it, which at a high conversion rate, which is something that Dr. Travis talked about last time. They're coming in, and the amount of hits they get to that site that result in purchases is very high, way higher than Amazon is accustomed to. Their algorithm sees that, recognizes it, whoop, and all of a sudden your listing is at the top or near the top of that actual product. So there might be 1,000 face washes out there, but when they see ones with super high conversions, those are the ones they show. And as long as the description and the title and the things that you've actually put research into, you're talking about benefit of what it really does to help you, as long as that's good, then people then buy that, and then that conversion stays high, right? And then it continues to be ranked high.
Yeah,
Fair?
100%. I mean, you nailed it better than I could. So the best thing is Amazon wants sales, period. And if you can convert sales on your product listing, you are going to shoot to the top of their algorithm, of their rankings. And then that's ultimately going to drive more and more sales. And so you have to make sure you convert, number one, and then you have to push traffic and get people on the listing, number two, and then convert them, number three. And so
Right.
that's the biggest thing.
Makes sense. And don't forget any of these steps, right? Because these steps all together are what make it work, including a good title, a good description that teaches benefit, what you really get out of the product. Because as you said, I'm sure before, that people just care about what's in it for me. Like, that's it. The features are what the product does. They just want to know what's in it for them.
100%. So if you can get the person, if you can convey to the person that you understand them, that's when you start to sell more. And so you can say my product is the best because it has tea tree oil in it. But why does tea tree oil matter? If you can get them to understand it, they have eyelid inflammation, and tea tree oil can help with inflammation on the eyelids. And so that's how you can kind of benefit, or you want to portray and understand what they're going through. And then that's when you start to sell even more.
Cool. Makes perfect sense. Now, you mentioned before that the success here has a combination of organic, what you're doing and what we've described, and paid. And you are the PPC, their pay-per-click guru when it comes to Amazon. So what's the simplest way to do what we've talked about so far and start combining it with paid dollars, paid spend, to make sure that you either get the ranking you want or maintain the ranking that you want?
Yeah. So organic sales, meaning sales that just come naturally from people searching on Amazon. The best way to get higher in those rankings is to make sales. We've already kind of covered that. Now, to make sales, we need to drive traffic to that listing. So we can have an audience that we talked about, driving the audience to that listing from outside sources. Amazon loves that. And then number two, what you just started talking about, is Amazon pay-per-click. Amazon has an entire advertising suite that changes daily. I kid you not, they come out with new features daily to make it even better and better and better. And this entire advertising suite, you can put yourself up to the top if you pay it. And so let's say, we'll stay with the example of our Hydrate Tea Tree Face Wash. We just launched that in January. We're going for the search term tea tree face wash. Lots of competitors on that, Body Shop being the biggest one. We're going after them. And so if you type in tea tree face wash into Amazon, we're ranked at number 5. But you'll also see us at the very top. And we're at the very top because we paid for it. So in Amazon's pay-per-click software, we can say we want to bid $4 to $5 for that click. And it's an auction system. And so other people are bidding on that same spot. Whoever has the highest bid, it's just like Google, it's just like Facebook. Whoever has the highest bid is going to get the top spot. And then there's the number 2 spot and the 3 spot and the 4 spot. And those are all advertising. And then after that, it's the organic ranking, the people that just show up naturally because they're making the most sales. And so then there's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're number 5 right now for that. And so you can pay to be placed at the top of the search results. And so the more you're willing to pay, the higher you're going to be. And depending on how much competition is there, you're going to pay more. If there's lower competition, you're going to pay lower. So when we first launched our hero product, we'll call it our bestseller in June of 2017, nobody was bidding on the terms that we were going after. So we were getting people were clicking our ads to our listing for 30 cents. Now it's about $6. And so you have to continually innovate in this business because you never know when competition is going to come in, because competition follows money. It's just plain and simple. If you have a good selling product, competition is going to come in sooner or later. So you constantly have to be reinventing yourself on how you're going to drive traffic to your listing, whether it be Amazon sponsored products, which is what we specialize in, which is what we help people do. But that's not the only thing we're doing. And so we also drive our audience to it. We drive Google ads to it. So all this traffic is just going to the listing, converting, and that ranks us higher organically. But Amazon pay per click, we can get to the top of it if we want to pay enough for it. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah, very similar to Google. I mean, if you've ever
100%.
seen Google and you search something, you see ads and then you see what the actual Google results. The
Yep.
first ad you see is the person pretty much willing to pay the most amount of money to be the first ad that you see. But like you said, you get into that, you get into a bidding war, there's all kinds of problems. That's when you rely on these other ways. It's the combination of doing multiple things that makes you successful on a long-term basis, whereas other people might be there short-lived, but they can't afford to continue to pay to be the highest, so they will fall if that's the only thing they're doing.
Yeah, and the reason our category got so expensive is because the pharmaceutical companies that are in my space and the bigger companies that are in my space decided that, oh, this Amazon thing's legit. We should probably get on there. And so they're all on here and they have a lot of money. And so they're just trying to bully me and the other smaller competitors out. And to give you an example, for my brand name Hydrate, if you type in Hydrate, Heyedrate, so like instead of the Y, it's an I, Hydrate. If you type that in, you'll notice that my competitor's at the very top of the search. And the reason that is because they're willing to pay $30 per click for that, because we're bidding 25. And so they're willing to bid more than that. And so I'm not willing to bid more than that for my brand name. So because we have tighter margins than a pharmaceutical company does. And so they can bully because they're a publicly traded company. They make a lot more revenue than we do. So they're just they're doing one technique. And if you have a lot of money, you can do this. And they're just bullying their way into the market, which is one technique you can do.
Sure. Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, that's what's going to happen. It's also a good thing because it means you're a very good job. I mean, when they're sitting there spending money to go after your own keywords, and you're crushing it. So this is what Amazon sponsored products. Is that what you call that because you're sponsoring the ad?
Yeah. So Amazon sponsored products is the platform. We also call it Amazon pay per click. So yeah, you're sponsoring the product to be at the top.
Okay. So what's the keys to succeeding with this pay-per-click?
Bidding as much as possible. No, I'm just kidding. It is not that at all. So most people just think like, that's why I love my competition. My competition is big companies that kind of look at Amazon as an afterthought, but as a primary channel kind of. So they're just willing to spend a ton of money, which makes me laugh because they're wasting so much money. If they just bought my company and hired me, I'd make them 100 times more efficient and they would make a ton more profit because they just don't know what they're doing. And they just try to bully their way in the market. The key to this is there are thousands of new search terms put onto Amazon a day. There are thousands of new search terms put onto Google. And what I mean by search term is, I think it's like a crazy statistic, like 25% of things entered into Google every single day are new. So just think about that for a second. You're typing in your phone on computer, you're doing a voice to search. 25% of what's going in there is new every single day. And so there's constantly new terms coming up all the time. And what my job is as a marketer is I want to figure out what those new terms are before my competitor does. And so you're constantly evolving with your pay-per-click and your Amazon sponsored products to find these new terms that are relevant for your product. Because what Amazon does is Amazon looks at your product and says, is this product relevant for this search term that somebody just put in? If it is, it will show up in the organic ranking and it can show up in the sponsored products if you're bidding on it. And so then if you find a word that's working really well for you, you want to bid higher for it. So this would be a word that you convert really well on. This is a word that you sell really well on. And so you want to go all in on that word while you can. And so we increase our bids, we increase our aggression towards that word. And then what happens is we just organically come up in the rankings, and then we're at the top of the sponsored product. So you'll see our product twice in the first page as a result of bidding high on it, because we know we convert for it and Amazon loves us for that keyword. And then we're organically on that page too, because we're selling a lot with that term. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. And I want you to know that while you were doing that, I just kept clicking on the competitor's product and not buying anything. So their conversion now sucks. I'm doing my part to try to help. I just want you
Thank
to
you.
know. Okay. So like in the keyword, let's say facial wash as an example. I wouldn't think you're going after facial wash because that's what everybody would go after. So in that other case, and I forget the word that you mentioned, how do you decide what word to go after that everybody else isn't really going after?
So that's all about your keyword research. And so there's specific ways to do Amazon keyword research. And what we do is we put in like 3 or 4 competitors that we're looking to go after. And so my keyword that we went after was tea tree face wash, like tea tree oil, tea tree face wash. I'm not going after face wash. There are thousands of people going after the term face wash. It's the most competitive keyword probably for any facial cleanser. And so we wanted to find a longer tail or a longer keyword string, tea tree face wash. So that's what we went after. That's how we got up to number 5 so fast, because we weren't going after the really competitive one. Tea tree face wash is still competitive and it's still expensive, but it's, you're spending $20 a click for face wash, and I'm spending $5 a click for tea tree face wash. And so the more obscure words that you find are the longer, we call them long tail keywords, and the ones that aren't, they're searched a lot, but they're not searched 200 to 300 to 400,000 times a month. They're searched more like 1,000 to 2,000 times a month. And so what we do as a company and what we do with our clients is that we find these smaller keywords that aren't searched as much, but they have huge potential. And we go after those keywords first, because what happens is when you go after those keywords, you'll naturally rise for the more competitive keywords like face wash. And so this is the same thing with the SEO world in Google. So if I'm going after the term dry eyes, it's the most competitive term for SEO in Google. But if you dig a little deeper into those keywords and find long questions or weird questions around dry eye, and they're searched only 30 times a month or 100 times a month, but nobody's talking about them, you start writing articles on those topics. Like an example would be, let me think, dry eyes and stress. How are they related? Nobody's talking about that. But if I write an article on it and then I do 100 more articles on that, we're naturally going to rise for dry eyes for the main keyword by going after all these smaller keywords, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. I mean, that's like you said, I think you described it best as long tail keywords versus the regular ones. So instead of business credit in my world, you're going to go after, business credit building software companies, then
100%.
there's only people looking for that are ones that are my customers, right? But I'm not competing with American Express that's actually selling a business credit card.
Nailed it. Yep.
Okay. So what's the biggest challenge with pay-per-click that you found that you think that your coaching clients that try to do this, where is it they struggle?
So the biggest struggle is just knowing it. And so I have a whole entire free course on just teaching them how we train our internal employees, our team. And I have that whole training I created into a blog post series. It's like 10 blog posts. And the only reason I made it was so I could train my team. And so like I can get people to go through the exact steps on how to do Amazon PPC, but it's not easy. It's very complicated because number one, Amazon changes things every single day. Like I said earlier, they are always making changes to their platform. Their platform is like Google was in like 2000. It's getting better though. And so it's getting more advanced now. They're starting to add videos finally. That's actually something new in the last 3 months. But the biggest challenge is knowing the platform and then keeping up to date on it. It's just like any platform. If you've never done Google Ads, you have no idea what you're doing. So it's probably better to hire an agency. If you don't have any idea with Amazon PPC, then it's better to hire an agency. Same thing with Facebook ads. All these platforms have intricacies to optimize them better. And the funny thing is, like, people are scared to spend $2,500 to $5,000 a month on an agency, but it's going to take you more time to learn it, that you shouldn't be focusing on that. And then also it's going to make you more efficient with the ad spend. And so the agency should pay for themselves through efficiency. And if they're not within 3 months, then you should probably get rid of them. And what we found with most of our clients is we're able to usually increase their sales by 20 to 30% that first month, just by making them more efficient. We actually spend more, but it's more efficient spend, and we make them more sales, number 2. But then we really can optimize in that second month to then bring their spend down, bring their sales up. And they usually have an increase in sales, 10 to 20 to 30%, sometimes even more. My favorite client is we took them from 30,000 a month to 150,000 a month in 4 months. And so it was all just a matter of optimizing. And you don't know if you can do that with a product or with your business if you don't have a professional doing it, if you're just looking at it yourself, just kind of doing it on the side.
Sure.
And yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that you quickly shortcut it. So you're talking about somebody with 5x growth in 4 months. You can't do that trying to figure this thing out yourself. But you work with all these different people and see all the results. So you're able to take all the combined results you see and then apply that to every person so that everybody gets the benefit of everybody else's results basically.
And the best part about it is like with our agency, whenever we're testing out something new, we test it out on my two brands first. And so I always test things on my two brands. We're actually testing something right now. We started in January and the results have been phenomenal. And so now we're actually rolling it out to our whole agency clients. And so the results were amazing. We always test it on my brand first. And I want to be in the forefront of Amazon PPC because my brand is on the line. And I want to reach 1 million dry eye sufferers and help them heal their dry eye naturally by the year 2030. And so to do that, I have to know, we have to know as a company how to do the best Amazon PPC job, how to do the best Google SEO. And so we have people on our team that that's their expertise, is they need to excel in those areas. They need to become world-class in those areas. And so I'm always looking to continue my education on Amazon pay-per-click just because that's where I feel like this is one of my strengths of my business.
I'm looking at your products on here. I mean, your competitors suck at their descriptions. Like they really suck. Like you guys,
big pharmaceutical companies.
You're rocking. Like they don't even understand what's going on. Like to put things like 8 ounce in the description when you guys are saying, what it battles. It's just flipping brilliant. So that being said, okay, so when it comes to pay-per-click, you mentioned something very interesting because you mentioned Google Ads. So are you combining Google Ads on top of that just to send people to your Amazon listings?
This is a rabbit hole, but I will sum it up very nicely. So what we do we have a very unique Google Ads strategy. We have a Shopify store and we have a blog on that Shopify store. What we do with Google Ads is we actually send Google Ads. So we'll go back to the dry eyes and stress. We just wrote an article. It was actually called Blepharitis and Stress. Blepharitis is eyelid inflammation. So we wrote an article about blepharitis and stress. And in that article, it mentions that eyelid hygiene is one of the number one things you can do for blepharitis. Eyelid hygiene is just simply washing your face with a tea tree oil face wash and spraying it with a hypochlorous acid cleanser and then putting a mask on for 10 to 20 minutes a day. And ironically, we have those products. And so hyperlinks in that article, if you click those hyperlinks in the article that talk about hypochlorous acid, it will click over to our product on Amazon. And so we drive Google Ads to the blog. The blog then drives traffic to Amazon. And so that's external traffic to Amazon, which Amazon loves. And that will shoot you up in the rankings more too if you convert. But then also when we get them on our blog, we have a lead magnet that gets them to opt into a free dry eye ebook that we wrote a dry eye book last year called Rethinking Dry Eye Treatment. It's about 200 pages long. We sell it as a physical paper copy. It's on Audible, it's on Kindle. And then we give it away for free as a PDF if you give us your email. And so we usually get about 50 emails a day with that strategy. But we're also juicing the Amazon algorithm by sending external traffic. And we track that through a special link called an affiliate link from Amazon. So we get to see how many sales are going from our blog to Amazon. And then we can track how much we spent on Google with how much revenue we made on Amazon. And we get to combine it to see if it's worth it to keep that article going or to shut it off and just let it rank for organically. But the cool part about that strategy is you then start to boost your SEO in Google. So your Google SEO is going up. You're sending Google ads to this blog post. So you're getting natural, organic, that word again, organic traffic to the blog. And then you're shooting that over to Amazon. And then we try to get them back on our site to order after that. So it's a crazy strategy. We started it in November 2017, and it's just we get about 120,000 visitors a month now to our blog as a result of doing one article a week. That's it. and then just keep doing one article a week. We now do two because we have the team in place to do two, and sometimes do three if we have time.
And everybody watching, I just can't explain how the brilliance of what he's saying here. I mean, it's not just Amazon. He's giving you the foundational principles that help the most successful of businesses succeed. And what they figured out is that Amazon loves people selling products and pushing traffic to them, right? Because if you think about it, if I'm selling a widget, somebody else is selling a widget, and I'm willing to go advertise and push people to Amazon to sell the widget, they're going to love me and they're going to give me better ranking than the other guy because I'm bringing Amazon what they want most, which is traffic. They want people there. And if I'm helping them do that, then they give me that prioritization. And this whole thing to do with pushing to a blog post, which then gives them a free ebook, which gets them in their funnel, and their funnel then talks about the actual problem of dry eyes and teaches them all these things. And then they become credible experts, and they probably push them to their Facebook page. And now there's a whole audience of people. And now, like, people would be crazy to buy from anybody else other than Dr. Travis because he's built the authority in the space. And people buy stories and they buy people, not the product. And that's really what he's created. So again, these two episodes together are just, it's just really, it's an absolute brilliant strategy. What about pricing? What do you do with pricing? Because on arbitrage, everybody's trying to cut each other out. But this is unique. So how do you even determine the prices of your product? Is it the surveying of your customers? Is it looking at Amazon? Is it looking at competition? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that go into pricing for us. Our main product is at $17.97, and it's worth more than that because of what it does for people. So $17.97 per month supply. We kind of priced that just kind of like we started at $14.97. We went up to $17.97 about 2 years ago. But that product came about as a result of we were selling a product. Our competitor, you probably clicked on their ad. They were $30 a bottle, and we were selling that out of our practice. And then all of a sudden overnight, they said, oh, by the way, we're raising your price. Instead of selling it for $30, you have to sell it for $300 a month to your customer. A 10x increase overnight. No reason, just a 10x increase overnight. And somebody came to us and we're just like, can you make it a more affordable version of this? Because I can't afford the other one anymore. And so we wanted to come out with a product that was equal to that, but affordable. And so we priced that as kind of our lead magnet. We want to get people in the door because I know if you try that product, it's going to work and you're going to try all our other products. Now, most of our products are handcrafted. So I'm not going to like a big factory in China. Everything is made in the USA. And I try to find really, really great people at what they do. So our hypochlorous acid, which is our number one seller, is made in a great factory here in the United States. And the people have the same values that we do. Our Hydrate Tea Tree Face Wash is, I've shaken hands and had dinner with the maker of that. And it's handcrafted. I mean, I've seen the process of it being done and it's just amazing. And so we price it based on the process. And so a couple of our products are from China. None of our consumables, none of our supplements are from China. But we price it based on the value that we perceive it to be in the market. So like an example is our omega-3 fish oil. We use sustainable fishing practices, which isn't done around the world. Sustainable fishing practices is where they don't farm too much fish that the fish can't survive. And so that's done around Iceland. And so we get our fish out of Iceland because they practice sustainable fishing patterns. So it's wild caught and it's sustainable. And so you can sacrifice and come out with a cheap fish oil that's a farm raised fish. And instead of triglyceride based omega-3s, it's ester based. So they can pack more into it and chemically process it a little bit more. But we decided to go higher quality. And so our pricing is based on quality, and we try to have a conscious behind everything that we're sourcing. And if there's not a conscious behind it, then we don't really want to source it. We want people behind where we're getting everything. There's a great book out there called Conscious Capitalism. And if you've never had a chance to read it, I highly recommend it. It's by John Mackey, the founder of Whole Foods. The reason Whole Foods is so expensive is because John Mackey is not going to talk you down. Whatever you want your price to be, that's the price that they're gonna change the price in their store to sell it. And I believe the same thing. So when a manufacturer of one of our products tells us that they're having trouble paying the bills, I said, raise your prices to me and I'll figure out what I need to do. But I don't want you to be struggling, because the day you struggle and go out of business is the day that we lose your product. And so I don't want you to struggle, because if you struggle, then go out of business, and then we're in trouble. So we want everybody in the whole supply chain to be taken care of. And so that's where we come up with our prices. Long answer to probably something that could have been shorter, but that's kind of our value base behind it.
No, it's great. And it shows your responsibility in a lot of other things. But when it really comes down to it, it just goes to show stories sell. And
Yeah.
that's the thing, is that you have a really good story of the effort that you go through to make sure that your products actually have meaning and value. And you're willing to say to your audience, you may pay more, but here's what you're paying more for. And people will buy that story. Like, I mean, that's like that makes a lot of sense when you talk about the sustainability of, what they're doing in Iceland with the fish. That makes perfect sense. And people
Mhm.
like me, I'm like, that makes perfect sense. Like all the other people are now scumbags because they're not doing that stuff. Honestly, it is what triggers in my brain. So it's the story that sells, and that's a brilliance. Although I know you're not doing it for that purpose,
Mhm.
it is one of the side benefits that
Yeah.
makes it so brilliant.
Yeah, we don't really push that out either to our audience. They know we source quality products, but I'll give you a horror story. We were working with a manufacturer. She's been great, but we had her develop a lotion for us, an eye cream, and we launched this eye cream with about 1,000 units, and the response was amazing through our audience. And it works incredibly well because it's only got 11 ingredients. Most eye creams that are out on the market have like 45 ingredients, and so we made this minimum ingredient, this eye cream, and then it hit. um, People are starting to get moldy eye cream. And we're just like, where's this mold coming from? And so we actually had to pull the whole product line off the shelf. We had 400 units left. We had to pull it all out of Amazon, out of our manufacturer, or out of our warehousing. We shipped it back. And what we learned is during the eye cream making process, you have to heat up the lotion and then you pour it in the jars and then it cools down. Well, if you don't let it cool down fast enough and you seal it, moisture builds up. Moisture leads to mold. And so we thought we did have a great product, but we were just sealing it too fast. And so it was creating mold. So um, I say conscious capitalism, but there are horror stories with it as well, because we're all learning in this together. And we didn't realize that mold would appear, but we refunded all those customers and patients back, and we're reformulating it, and we're redoing the whole system around making it. So um, even though it may sound like all sunshine and rainbows, there are problems that still arise.
What about FBA, fulfillment by Amazon? How does that tie into
Yeah.
anything you guys, do you guys use that at all?
We use both. So yeah, there's fulfillment by Amazon and there's fulfillment by merchant. Fulfillment by Amazon means that you ship it into Amazon's warehouses, which they have close to like 50 in the US now alone. They just keep adding more warehouses. So the reason they're adding warehouses is so you can get it in one day. But what they do is, I say I have 1,000 units to send into them. They say ship it all to Illinois warehouse. We ship it all to Illinois warehouse, and then they distribute it through all their warehouse networks. And so fulfillment by Amazon is where me as a third party seller ships it into Amazon's warehouse, and then Amazon ships it for us. That's how you get your Prime 2-day and 1-day shipping. Fulfillment by merchant is where we have both of them on there. Fulfillment by merchant means it comes from my fulfillment center. Our fulfillment center is in Missouri, so you may not be able to get it in 2 days unless you pay for it. The advantage to fulfillment by Amazon is there's an option when you're shopping on Amazon to see Prime orders or Prime products only. And to get that Prime button that is so coveted, that sells a lot more, it like doubles your conversion rate, you have to be fulfillment by Amazon. Now, with that, there's a charge. Amazon charges you a lot for that. But it's well worth it because your conversion rate goes up, your rankings go up, everything goes up when you do fulfillment by Amazon.
Sure. And I was looking as you're doing this at your tea tree face wash, which is FBA, because I could see that it's Prime, and then I can get it free in 1-day delivery.
Yep.
Right.
That means
So
it's close enough to you.
yeah, which makes sense, because I'm sure what they're doing is using their algorithms to see where people are typically buying, and then they're shipping the product to those warehouses where people are more inclined to buy. That makes perfect sense.
Yep.
So what percentage, if you had to give a percentage of what products you do FBA where you can get the actual Prime versus ones that you don't, what would you say that percentage is?
So probably 90% of our products are FBA and 90% of our sales are FBA. The FBM ones that we do, the fulfillment by merchant, the ones that come from our warehouse are usually bundles. And so not on our face wash, but there are bundles on other products that, like for our Hydrate Lid and Lash Cleanser, for example, you can buy a bundle of that and a couple other products. And so we're using the traffic of that main product that has a ton of traffic going to it per day to start selling our other products. So you can see these bundles and save money, and you do save money. I don't mean to quote to not say you save money, but you use these bundles to save money, but they also get to try our other products at a reduced cost. And so it upsells them. It's like a pre-purchase upsell.
Sure.
So we're trying to upsell them into a bundle because you can't really control any of that on Amazon other than doing that.
Yeah, and I imagine if I go to the tea tree face wash here, then what's going to happen is it's going to say people also looked at or bought, and then give me one of your bundles as a recommendation.
And if you go scroll down that listing a little bit, there's frequently bought together, and those are all 3R products usually.
Right. And I'm not going to click on this because I don't want to bury you like I buried the other dude that was a competitor. I just clicked to make sure his conversion was low. But I can imagine that makes perfect sense on an upsell. So you have a full-blown strategy. Any downside of using FBA besides the obvious that you have to pre-buy the inventory and the cost of that? So you have to basically have something you know is going to sell before you're investing into FBA, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot of downsides to FBA. It's a matter of doing it, but of course you're at Amazon's liberty then. So like if something goes wrong with your product, to investigate it, it takes them a long time because they've spread out their inventory over all these warehouses. So they have to send somebody out physically to every place that the inventory is at. And if you've never seen an FBA warehouse, they don't stack everything together. So like if I have 100 units at one warehouse, none of them are together. And so Amazon knows how to utilize every single inch in their warehouse. And so there will be my face wash next to a supplement, next to a book, and they just fill space wherever space is available. And they do that on purpose because it leads to less pick and pack errors. It utilizes every single square inch of their warehouse. But if something goes wrong, they have to go pick every single one of those individual items to inspect it. And so that's kind of one downside. Another downside is that if I ship all 10,000 of my units to Illinois, and then they decide they're going to move all 10,000 to California, if I thought they were going to be available to sell and now they're shipping them somewhere else, they're not going to be available to sell. So we can stock out. That's another downside. And then cost. It costs a lot more to do FBA than it does to do FBM, but it's the nature of the beast. I mean, you're paying Amazon to bring you a bunch of traffic, and Amazon is the shopping source. Whenever you think of, oh, I need that, you pull up your Amazon app and you buy it.
Dr. Travis, where does everybody go to talk more about you? This is complicated. You guys have figured it out. You could do this on your own with all the information you've got from these last two podcasts and probably do okay. But with you, they're going to crush it and have a much greater chance of success faster. Where do they go to learn more about your coaching program, about what you guys are doing over there?
Well, I appreciate you letting me do this. My blog is actually called salesfunnelhq.com. So sales funnel headquarters, essentially, salesfunnelhq.com. That's where I just blog once a week, put out a video once a week. It's just about Amazon in general or anything about sales funnels. So you can follow me there. If you're interested in applying to work with us, we only work with high value brands. We don't want somebody that's in this for a get rich quick scheme. We like to work with people that have integrity around their brand. And so if you want to apply to work with us, it's Amazon PPC professionals.com. So Amazon PPC professionals.com. That's going to take you to a page, just has a little brief write up. And then there's a link that you can click to fill out the application. Application comes to my personal email. And then I get back to you usually within 24 to 48 hours, except for on weekends. And we'll talk about if your brand's a good fit. We'll hop on a phone call, talk for about 30 minutes. Even if you're not interested in using us, it could be the best 30 minutes you spend on your business. So head to Amazon ppcprofessionals.com to check that out.
Dr. Travis, thanks for coming on with me today again.
Ty, I appreciate everything you've done.
So everybody, I just can't tell you the value here. I mean, I really recommend you go through both of these interviews and go through them multiple times because Dr. Travis just gave you the fundamentals of how to build a 7 and 8 figure business. Amazon or no Amazon, period. What he taught is the fundamentals that 99% of entrepreneurs I see, and we've helped 40,000 entrepreneurs succeed with getting capital. Of those, 99% of them do not get what he is saying here. So he is literally giving you the formula to build a 7 and 8 figure business. And who knows how much you could build if you're actually using it on Amazon as it's intended. So my advice, go back through these episodes, listen again to what he's saying. And my bigger advice, go to salesfunnelhq.com. There, he teaches a lot of the fundamental principles that it takes to succeed in business in general. And then if you're going to Amazon ppcprofessionals.com, that's if you're legitimate. You're not somebody just trying to come and make a quick buck on Amazon. He's not going to take you on. He wants to take on people that legitimately have a purpose to what they do. They're trying to heal 1 million people's dry eyes, right? They have a purpose behind what they do. If you are that kind of company where you really have a purpose behind what you do and you want to succeed in a space like Amazon, that is where AmazonPPCProfessionals.com. If you're not there yet, that's okay. That's where you go to SalesFunnelHQ.com. So either way, 2 really good resources to be able to learn more. So that is my best advice. Take action now. Either go to SalesFunnelHQ.com and also go to AmazonPPCProfessionals.com as well. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a great day.